This gentleman was an incredible running back for the California Bears in the 1970s. He led the Bears to the co-championship of the Pac-8 in 1975 and was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. This gentleman was drafted by the New Orleans Saints and was the first player to rush for over 1,000 yards in their franchise. He was even the first Saints player to be named All-Pro. In 1980, he joined the San Diego Chargers. He led the Chargers to 3 consecutive division titles. During his illustrious career, he was selected to the Pro Bowl 3 times, 1979, 1981, and 1982. After his retirement from the NFL, he founded a youth foundation. This organization provides free medical services, including tattoo removal, youth employment, career training programs, and mentoring programs. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's give a round of applause and welcome Chuck Muncie.
Like he's mentioned, I'm from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, which is a small town back in western Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is our biggest city that was close to us, but there were about 2,500 people in my hometown. And I'm the youngest, I'm the baby in my family. I'm the little baby. I have 3 older brothers that all play professional football. One played for the Cleveland Browns, one played for the Minnesota Vikings, and one played for the Baltimore Colts. Okay, so it was kind of something that happened in our family. It was kind of expected. And plus, we didn't have a lot of money. And so sports was an opportunity for us to get our way out of town, so to speak, find a way to advance our lives and get an opportunity to go to college. So I got a great opportunity to go to the University of California, Berkeley. First time I ever was on an airplane in my life. I flew from Pennsylvania all the way out to California, and I tell you, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous. It was a long trip, but I got here and I never went back. All my family, I moved all my family out here to California, and they all now live in Southern California or Northern California. And everyone loves it here because we got tired of shoveling snow, really. It got too cold in the winter back there, so it was a great opportunity to come out here. Once my family, my mom and sisters and brothers and everything had a chance to come out here and visit, they said, oh, this is pretty nice, I think we'll stay out here. But, went to Cal Berkeley, as Mr. O'Day said, and I had 2 majors. I majored in sociology and I minored in business. And so I graduated from there with 2 degrees, and I got a scholarship I got drafted by the New Orleans Saints. But during my time at Cal Berkeley, believe me, back in the 70s, it was a lot different than it is now. There was a lot of things that were going on that I wasn't used to. In one dorm, there were like 5,000 people in one dorm, in a big building. And my whole hometown was only 2,500 people. So you can imagine I was kind of a little nervous. And then when I came out here, in my hometown, it was very basic. You were black, you were white, I had never met a Hispanic person before. I had never met an Asian person before. I had never met a Native American. I had never met anybody outside just the normal people in my hometown. And I'll never forget one time I was lost on campus and I was looking for a building, and I saw a guy. I walked up to him, young black man, and I walked up to him and I said, back then, hey bro, how do you find this building? And the guy looked at me and he had this accent. He said, I beg your pardon. I'm like, where are you from? He was a gentleman from England. And he was born in South Africa, and he was raised in England. And to this day, he's one of my dearest friends. And we've become friends ever since then. But that was my introduction to someone outside the United States. And going to school at Cal Berkeley, there was every nationality, every society represented at that school. And it still is today. So it's one of the most wonderful, I think, institutions in the country as far as a school or college. that you can ever choose to go to, because you get not only the knowledge that you gain in the classroom, but also the knowledge that you gain by meeting people from different cultures from all around the world. And I have a lot of friends today that I go visit all over the world, and they're people who I met here at Berkeley. So it's pretty nice. It was pretty cool things. And but while I was at school at Berkeley, I played a little bit of football, you know, and was pretty good at it, and had a great opportunity during those years to play on national television. Matter of fact, it didn't happen this last weekend, but when I was there, we beat USC on national television. It was the first time I had ever been on national television, and I was real excited. And I had a great game, and we beat them. USC at the time was the #1 football program in the country. And no one had really ever heard of Cal Berkeley that much. We were kind of academically, we were an academic school. We weren't known for a football program. But we ended up beating USC on national TV, and that year we ended up as co-champs for the Pac-8, which was something unheard of, and they have yet to repeat that. Since then, Cal Berkeley is, to this day, they haven't had a co-championship or a championship in the Pac-8 or Pac-10. So after, when I got finished with college, as Mr. Alday said, I went to, and I got drafted by the New Orleans Saints. I was the first player picked in the draft. I was the first player to sign a $1 million contract in the NFL. And to this day, it's really not as much money as they're making today. But it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. And it was a nice thing to do, a nice reward, and a nice way to make a living. Believe me, playing the sport that I loved to play growing up, and then to be offered a job, and that's what it is when you play professional football. It's really a job. It's not a long-lasting career because you can only play for so many years, but it is a job. We used to have to be there, like you guys have to get up early and come to school. We would have to get up early and go to our stadium where we would play our games, and we would have practice all day, and then we would have meetings all day. We used to sit in classrooms just like you guys, or doing all day. We would sit there from 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd go to lunch, and then we'd come back and be back in the classrooms. And during that time when we were in the classroom, we used to study our opponents. And we used to study the game film and watch film. Let's say we were going to play the Oakland Raiders. And so we would watch every game that they played up until the time we were ready to play them. So we got to find out the things that they did, their tendencies, the things they like to do, the habits that they have. And so when, just like you, when you study in your books, you learn how to do math problems, you learn how to read and all that good stuff. And that's the same thing. We would have to study these guys and find out what they did in certain situations. And it was very interesting, it was very educational. And I did that for a long time. Played a lot of years. And then I tell you, it was a great career during that time. I played with some great athletes. I don't know if you guys ever watch Saturday college football on ABC, but one of the announcers that's on TV is a gentleman by the name of Dan Fouts. And Dan was my quarterback. And then I have another teammate who's, well, actually there's 3 of them that made it to the Hall of Fame. And one gentleman is by the name of Kellen Winslow. And if you watch the Cleveland Browns today, and you watch the Cleveland Browns football, the tight end for the Cleveland Browns is Kellen Winslow Jr. And I watched him grow up just like you guys. I mean, he was a little baby. They lived across the street from me. Matter of fact, Kellen Winslow Jr. and my daughter went to the high school prom together. So it was kind of a small world, really small world. So I've known him ever since then. He was born 1 week after my daughter was born. My daughter's name is Danielle. And but Kellen is another gentleman that's in the Hall of Fame. The other gentleman that's in the Hall of Fame is a guy by the name of Charlie Joyner. And Charlie was a great wide receiver, could catch the ball, caught a lot of passes, and set a lot of records in the NFL. He is now coaching for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was with the Buffalo Bills coach for 9 years, and now he's been with the Kansas City Chiefs for about 7 years now. So very successful. These guys are very successful. All of my teammates, I must say, the guys I played football with, all of my teammates have become very successful in life after football. Because they went to school, they got a great education while they were in school, and then we had an opportunity to play football after we graduated from college, but football only lasts for a short period of time. You know, because physically you cannot play it all your life. You just can't. Now, I can go out and play flag football now, but I couldn't go out and play tackle football like they do on TV right now. It's just something that happens over the years. You get injured, you get hurt, and all of a sudden your body just can't handle it anymore. And so it's time for you to move on with your life and do other things. So going from California, and then when I got drafted by the New Orleans Saints, going from California to New Orleans back in 1976 was a big culture shock for me. I travel quite a bit. I am constantly traveling. My business takes me all over the country, all over the world. My most favorite city is not in the United States. My favorite city is in Rome, Italy. That is my favorite city. Well, my two current jobs, one I have, as Mr. O'Day mentioned, one is the Chuck Muncie Youth Foundation, which we founded 19 years ago when I retired from football. And that is my favorite job. Oh, well, it's kind of hard to say. But it's kind of neck and neck with my other job. But my youth foundation is really a wonderful thing. Everybody who works, if you want to call it work, for my foundation, they really don't work. They volunteer their services. I have doctors all over the country who donate, plastic surgeons. These guys make a lot of money. You know, they make a lot of money doing stuff, but they donate 10 hours of their time a year. And I have about 250 doctors across the country who donate 10 hours each a year to take tattoos off of people. Okay? We have a tattoo removal program. For the last 11 years, it's been voted as one of the top 5 community-based programs in the country because it is based on volunteerism. And the reason why we take tattoos off of people is a lot of individuals at a young age, not quite as young as you guys are, but in their teenagers or what have you, and some of them get some tattoos, you know, on their body, on their hands, on their neck, or on their face, and they think it's cool when they're young, and you know, that's okay. That's okay, you know, they think it's cool, but then there's some people who are affiliated with gangs and what have you, and so they get a lot of the gang tattoos on their hands. They'll get the 3 dots, or they'll put something negative like 12th Street or a representation of a gang that they're involved in, 12th Street, 19th Street, whatever, you know, or they'll put their gang insignia on there. And most of these are done homemade. And we call them homemade tattoos, and people, the way they do a homemade tattoo is they'll take, like, you know how you guys have the cars, the remote control cars with the motors, and they'll take that motor out of that remote control car, and they put horsehair. Okay, they'll take like off of a brush, you know, real stiff brush bristles, and then that'll become their needle. And they dip that into dye, and with the engine running, they connect it to the, you know, with the electricity and the whole thing, they connect it to this horsehair, and they do their tattoos like that. And so a lot of times, a lot of them get infected because it's in an unsanitary, you know, place, and they really don't come out looking good, bottom line. You know, they really are ugly, but they're, you know, they're really proud, they're in the gang, the whole thing, they think they're cool. But then what happens later on in life, as they grow older, and they're trying to get jobs, and they're trying to advance in life, and all of a sudden they walk in for a job interview, and they have these tattoos, these marks on their hands or on their neck or on their face and what have you, and if I'm hiring somebody for a job, I'm not going to hire somebody with gang tattoos or with negative tattoos on their body that's visible, because in my business, if you have a business, you're dealing with people. And appearance, off the top, from the beginning, appearance is 90% of your success. When you're going in for a job interview, or you're trying to work a deal or get a contract with somebody, so they want to see how you dress, your appearance, how you conduct yourself. And when you have these tattoos on, you're not going to get hired. You're not going to get the job. You know, we had a program we started with when I ran the Boys and Girls Clubs up in Oxnard, California, down in Oxnard, California. And we started this program. We had a youth employment program, you know, Oxnard. And so we would have job training for kids who were 14 years old and older. The youngest person I ever took a tattoo off of was a 16-month-old baby. Yep. The mom and dad were in a gang. Yep, the mom and dad were in a gang. And they wanted their son to be in the gang. So they put a tattoo on him. And the baby got blood poisoning because it was done at home. The baby got blood poisoning, they took him to the hospital, and because it was child abuse, okay, they separated the kid from his family, and they gave the baby to the grandmother. The grandmother brought the baby to us and said, "Can you please take this tattoo off? I want to give him a chance to be successful in life." My sports job is very interesting also. I have a company, I'm a partner in a company called MSL Sports. It's an acronym for Muscle. So Muscle Sports is the name of it. And what we do is we identify athletes all over the country, all around the world actually. And we create a video profile on these athletes. We interview these guys, girls get interviewed on camera. We sit them down, we interview them and ask them questions because in today's world, to go to a university on a scholarship, now in football, there's only 25 scholarships per university that are offered. The reason why we interview the guys and the girls on camera and on TV is because we want to hear them speak. You know, we want to hear them speak. We want someone to tell us about themselves. We want to make sure that you're articulate, that you can talk, okay? Because you're going to be representing my university, and you're going to be on TV a lot. And if you're very successful, you're going to be in the newspaper, you're going to be in headlines, the whole thing. So we want to make sure that the individual is intelligent and can handle themselves and speak appropriately in front of the camera. The second thing that we do is we do all their measurements. Now when I talk about measurements, that means we measure their height, we see how much they weigh, we see how high they can jump, how fast they can run, how much they can bench press, lift weights, how much, and all that stuff. So we measure, we do a sports measurement. Then once that's done, then we take them out on the field and we'll run them into 40-yard dash. It's old enough, but these are pretty cool though.
Muncie comes to Stanford Stadium, and I think he scored 5 touchdowns and threw another touchdown pass. The most incredible college football player that I had ever seen.